have acquired many key pieces since losing to the Ravens in round 1 of the playoffs, including locking down defensive star TJ Watt, trading for DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey, while picking up Aaron Rodgers for a year. However, another star, Heyward, is looking to get in on the payouts.
It's hard for me to, having after the year I've had, to really justify playing at the number I'm playing at. I understand I signed a contract last year, to be completely honest with you, when I signed that, I told them, when I have an all-pro year, expecting me to come back. And you can look at the contract and see what it was, but, I think everybody kind of giggled a little bit, but in my heads, I used it as motivation to go out there and prove it.
Marcus, is Heyward justified in holding out?
This one is very difficult for me, Molly. I think there's justification because of the production and where he is considerably amongst all D tackles. He's still one of the best. This is hard for the Pittsburgh Steelers because it's an aging vet, but he said it right there, and I'm going to take Cam for his word for it. I happen to know him. I don't know Cam to be a liar, and said when I have an all-pro year, we're going to come back to the table. So if that is the case, he should be asking to be compensated as one of the top guys in the league. And then again, organizationally, right? Like there's a lot you have to do, a lot you have to process. You just paid TJ Watt as well. So Cam is well within his right if that was what he told this organization at the time of the other extension.
I think he's justified. Do I understand why the organization might be like, wait a minute, we just gave you money? Of course. But as a player, I'm always, for the most part, I'm going to side with the players. You have a finite window where you can maximize your leverage. And in Cam's case, he feels like he can maximize it. The Steelers seem to be all in. They don't go very far without him. And that's what he knows.
Yeah. He's been named to 7 Pro Bowls in the last 8 years. He's a leader inside the locker room as well. A consummate professional, a model citizen who produces at a high level. He had a muscle strain, and what do? You come to him because he had missed time. He was limited to 11 games, the 2023 season. You came to him to ask him to take a pay cut, restructure his deal. He does so, goes out there, plays with an injury, and still turns around and says to you, when I have an all-pro year, expect me to come back.
Come back, yep.
Okay, so he didn't lie, he didn't mislead, he just produced. You owe him that.
He produced.
You owe him that.
Where are the Steelers without him?
Well, the leadership in that locker room is compromised. The leadership on the defensive side of the ball, that puts more of an onus on TJ Watt. That's not good. And he's a veteran, and we know this. I think that it would be a big loss
Stephen A.
to have him. Yes.
Cam Heyward had 8 sacks last year.
Yes, he did. He had 8 sacks.
This is not somebody we're talking about, give me something. This is one of the premier defensive tackles in the NFL.
And an interior lineman.
Matters to them.
An interior lineman. You've got TJ Watt as your edge rush. He had 8 sacks. He had 56 pressures, and that was 4th in the league. 4th in tackles for a loss with 12. He also batted down more passes than any other defensive lineman in the National Football League with 11. And considering how pathetic and putrid the Steelers' offense was, you definitely needed every bit of production he gave you.
Beyond just the stats, as somebody who's been in that locker room and covers that team, Cam Heyward is that presence that you go to in the locker room, good and bad. When the team is careening, when the team is on a 10-game winning streak, Cam, put it all in perspective. That's what you are paying for, not just, it's the Terry McLaurin. It's not just the production. It's what do you mean in that locker room.
Leave it there.
And do you vibe with the Steelers?
Former player, our beloved Ryan Clark. And RC asked him what he says when people bring up his drought in playoff wins. Mike Tomlin, talk to me.
Say nothing. We got resumes, we all do. And we got to stand on that. I live a life, man, where I don't seek comfort, I don't make excuses. Engaging in that discussion to me is excuses. I don't live that life, man. Like, I pour everything I got into what I do, man, and when the dust settles, it settles, and I keep it moving. And so, I don't care a whole lot about what people have to say.
I do.
I don't. Like, respectfully, I don't. Some people, some people talk, some people watch, some people do. I'm glad I'm a doer. I'm glad I live in that world.
It's an excellent interview on the pivot. They go a lot of different places. RC and Tomlin are very close from all their time together. But that part of it is interesting, the way he manages this. And you cover that team closely all the time. And we're all aware, or maybe people aren't all aware, that locally, nationally, Mike Tomlin is a revered figure. Everyone around the country thinks he is one of the 2 or 3 best coaches in football. The hardcore Steeler fans see all these playoff losses, and a lot of them are frustrated, and a lot of them point the finger of blame at the coach.
For years.
What is your sense of what he is saying there and what we should be expecting?
Well, that's vintage Tomlin. He didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. I'm glad he's a doer. The Steelers fans need his quarterback to be a doer this season, because that's really the only thing anybody cares about. How good can Aaron Rodgers be? How good can this offense be? Can they finally win a playoff game? Mike Tomlin is a good enough coach where he can get this team 4 to 5 wins just by virtue of being himself. But the standard it needs to be elevated. The standard is the standard, but for right now, the standard has been no losing seasons. That's not going to cut it. But as long as he wants to be in Pittsburgh, he'll be in Pittsburgh.
Swag, I haven't had a chance to talk to you this entire preseason. What is your sense of this team with Rodgers and sort of the trade for DK Metcalf, a very un-Steeler-like offseason? They seem to be going all in for this year. What is your expectation of how well it will work?
It's all predicated on Aaron Rodgers, G. If Aaron Rodgers is 75 to 80% of himself, I'm talking about the good Aaron Rodgers, this team can have some success, and you'll have to worry about the Steelers if they get into the playoffs. And this is a long way I've come. G, you remember months ago, maybe a year ago, I floated this out there about what if Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin ended up working together. And then I was like, hell no, it shouldn't happen, because I thought it would put them right back in this QB conundrum that they've been in for a while. They've tried everything. They've drafted, they've traded for, they've tried to bring guys throughout the system and build them up. They've been through offensive coordinators. They've tried to figure out new ways to play offense. But ultimately, I think if Aaron Rodgers can be competent and 75% of or 80% of what Aaron Rodgers is, because we've seen lesser quarterback play, they made the playoffs. This is about him managing an offense, hitting explosives every once in a while, and allowing that defense to be the catalyst for them throughout the duration of the game, while they're supplementing that by making 21 points, 24 points potentially, and this team could be a problem. But they also got to get Cam Heyward back on the field. That's a whole other issue. That's going on.
He's got a contract situation he wants talked about as well. But just for the moment on that, Jeff, Rodgers, Tomlin, Steelers, what do you expect?
I expect them to win playoff games, because let's be honest, this conversation has to go well beyond the regular season. We like it, and Swagoo said it, Kmart said it. We're gonna make the playoffs somehow, right? We're gonna grind it. It doesn't matter anymore. Like we talk about Lamar Jackson, he has to prove it in certain ways. We talk about all the different players have to prove it. Well, Tomlin's got to prove it in the playoffs. You got to win games in the playoffs, like doer, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate the soliloquy he goes on, and I get as excited as anybody. But at the end of the day, if you're a Steelers fan, it's about winning playoff games. And they brought Aaron Rodgers in to win playoff games, not to make the playoffs